So, how's everyone doing? I'm going to do that thing where I'm trying to make sure that the stream is actually running because there's no one-to-one feedback. Hey, great, we're running. All right, so hello, welcome. It has been a week. Today, I decided that I was going to do a stream because I wanted to watch some Sargon. And I always say when I watch Sargon that I'm going to put up some small little reaction to it. But I never do because maybe it's because I'm like plural or something. And that's why I don't like bother. I don't know. Like I'm already doing it for an audience in my head. So I don't bother posting it for everyone to join me. Or maybe it's because I tweet about it or whatever. But anyway, I'm going to watch one Sargon video and one video from one of his little misfit minions over on the LotusWankers website. And we're going to find out how dumb they are about the recent terrorist attack in the Capitol. So that'll be nice. I hope everyone had a good New Year's and a good holiday season. I haven't done a video since before Christmas, I think. Or maybe the Andromeda one was just after Christmas. Either way, I haven't done much. So I wanted to do something, and this seems as good a time as any because I don't know, I got pissed this week because, hey, you know me, I'm a conservative at heart. So I really despise all the crap that happened in Washington. And Carl has a pretty stupid take on it, I'm sure, just based on this video title, A Vulgar Display of Power. Oh. I hope Lauren isn't watching that part because that'll give her ideas. All right, so theater mode, I guess. So the reason we're going to do this is because before I watched this one, I peeked at the comments first, and as you can see here, these comments are all over the place. This is a coup in progress. The media incites violence on a second-by-second basis. Why do I get the feeling that in the end Obama was right? History will say Trump was never president. Like, there's no like coherent pattern to the comments on this video, which makes me think that Carl hasn't been coherent. Not that his fans are particularly coherent, but we'll find out, won't we? Because I've never watched this. I haven't watched the other video we're going to look at. We're going to live react and see if we get anything interesting. I could probably set it, let's set it to a quicker speed. Just a little quicker, just to see what Carl says. All right, let's watch together.
Hello, folks. I think I'm live. Gotta keep boomering it. So,
I sympathize with that.
This is pretty mad. I think it's all downhill from here. Yes, welcome to the last Sargon live stream. It's entirely possible.
Okay. Again, fascist thinking is that you're either going to have victory or you're going to be utterly destroyed. So here we have Carl doing a fascism, a very low yield fascism, but still a fascism.
You should all be very aware of where your favorite content creators are on other platforms. This is definitely,
judging by some of the views on the Lotus Eaters website, they aren't that aware.
What I would recommend, and definitely be aware. Yes. So let's wait till people arrive. So
I'm putting money down now. Who wants to bet money that Carl is going to say Night of the Long Knives at some point in this video?
I don't have to repeat myself, even though I'm bound to, because I like I said, I don't mean to do these late night streams. But things then happen that I'm just like, I mean, thank God it's Friday. It's been a long day, and I think we had a very successful day. We've had a very successful week on the podcast this week. It's really good. There's a link in the description as if this is going to last for any amount of time. But you could also go to LotusWankers.com because we've got an amazing article by Hugo that I'm going to be using as reference for a lot of what I'm saying here. But yeah, no, we've been very successful. So everything's been very good. So when we get deplat,
I'm just going to check real quick. Nope, that's not the thing we're going to look at.
Formed, and we, when we're all deplatformed, and this is going to be everyone, and we can't speak to people. At least it won't be because people aren't interested in hearing what we have to say. Remember that. People will want to have known what we said because everything on our end.
I just want to add in that Sargon has made his little donation queue. The tree of liberty thirsts. The whole phrase, the tree of liberty must be watered with blood, as in you have to be willing to bleed for it. Like, and now we're here crying that Donald Trump got banned from Twitter.
Has been just green, numbers up in every way, which is fantastic. And by the way,
they'd have to go up from 0. You were down for 3 weeks.
Thank you all for sticking with us, for being interested in what we have to say. And I hope we're doing work worthy of the time that you spend to view the things and the money that you send to us and things like this. But anyway, right, let's get to the point.
Right? It costs as much money to get a subscription on Lotus Eaters as it costs to get Disney Plus. Who's that in love with Carl? Anybody?
The big news, obviously, being this. Now, I don't think that you can over-egg how bad a move this is. And I really think this is just crazy. It's worth...
Carl is completely lacking in any self-awareness here. He's going to talk about the Donald Trump thing, but right in the news column, down here in the corner, police officer among 5 dead after pro-Trump mob storms Capitol. Like, cause, effect. It's right here in front of him. Do you think he's going to notice?
Remembering that all of these politicians, and I know this because I have met them, all of them, well, not all of them, but I've met like different politicians in different countries, both Britain and America, and at different levels, right? And one of the things that you become very aware of is their perception is their world, right? If they don't see something, they don't think about it, and therefore they don't know about it, and they don't care about it. It doesn't spend any amount of time in the forefront of their mind. So it's not something they put any thought process in towards.
I suppose that explains Carl and women.
And so you then realize that the thought process controls the decision making, and the things that they take in and the way they take them in determine their actions that they're about to take and what they consider to be important, what they value. Trump values his Twitter account more than anything. And I really think, I remember very clearly in his campaign trail in 2016.
I want to lay out a little history for people who are unfamiliar with how Carl Benjamin views Twitter. Carl Benjamin views Twitter like you and I might view like food. He thinks it's a necessity to live, right? He thinks that Twitter is the real world. Like, everyone who's been bitching and moaning about this, and I don't mean like, man, it sucks that they banned the Donald, that a few of his light supporters might say, like, okay, someone you like got banned, we all complain about that, right? But everyone who's in this Orwellian post-apocalypse mindset, they think that Twitter is the real world because that's the most consequence they've ever had to face in their life. When Carl proposed Gamergate 2.0 on the Ralph Retort, I believe was where he first floated the idea. When the panel, whom none of them agreed with him, just to point out that not even the Nazis agree with Carl, who is himself a wannabe Nazi, if not already a Nazi. They asked, what practical effect would this have? And Carl's answer was that it would make the blue check marks really upset. Like, that was his goal. That was his praxis. That is the end goal of politics in Carl's mind, is making blue check marks angry because he thinks Twitter is real life. And that's what we're going to see here. I'm sure he's not going to disprove that theory at all. I'm sure he'll use other terms like when Alex Jones got banned and he called it the social equivalent of murder. It's going to happen. I'm sure we'll see it some more.
But he was saying that he had a giant platform, and that's why the media couldn't just bully him like they do everyone else. It was just because he had this platform. And now he doesn't. And so it's going to be very, very interesting to see how things respond here, because it's hard to say that this is ban-worthy. I think Silicon Valley are being very, very trigger-happy at this point. Just to be clear, Sidney Powell, Lynn Wood, and other MAGA...
For the record, I have seen the Twitter statement on what tweet prompted the permaban. It was not this tweet. It was a different tweet. Or it might have been... actually, I think it was two different tweets that combined equaled that. This is one. But the other one was... could be interpreted as a please bomb the inauguration, folks. So...
supporters, I guess we'll call them, have all been suspended from Twitter. And this was the tweet that I think got Donald Trump suspended.
Nazis got banned from Twitter. There's still plenty of people on Twitter who are raging that Donald Trump got banned. But it's the Nazis who are gone.
The 75 million great American patriots who voted for me, America First, and Make America Great Again will have a giant voice long into the future. They will not be disrespected or treated unfairly in any way, shape, or form. That is enough to get Donald Trump, the President of the United States, suspended from Twitter.
Yes, because the people he's talking about are terrorists. Literally terrorists. They invoked violence to achieve their political end. They wanted to kidnap Mike Pence and put a gun to his head because that's what the president told them to do. That is why, if he keeps addressing those people, he's talking directly to terrorists.
I don't even know what the ramifications are going to be of this. And nobody does, right? Because this...
There are no ramifications. People get banned from Twitter all the time. You've been banned from Twitter like 7 times, Carl.
...is going to hit Trump like a hammer blow. One thing that people who get suspended from social media platforms learn is how to deal with the psychological effect of not being able to access your own accounts. And of all the social media accounts Trump has, his Twitter is clearly the only one he actually...
Is that the worst thing that Carl can conceive? Probably.
He accesses personally and doesn't give access to anyone else, probably. Or at least if he does, it's, a very limited sphere of people. And so you get the
reverse definitely isn't true. He starts accessing the Twitter accounts of all his staff members until he finds one that sticks.
This is Donald Trump's personal megaphone to the world. And he clearly views it this way. And so this, to him, is going to be essentially like knives in the Senate was to Caesar. This is going to feel very painful. Very painful.
Well, there's the first Caesar reference. Yes, that's how the whole thing ended for Caesar. All these people who were saying that Wednesday was their Rubicon, like, this is how it turned out. Caesar got removed.
In Silicon Valley's view, they think they're finishing him off. And I don't want to overstate this, but I really think that this is the power dynamic that's being played out and the attitude that's being played out. Because I don't think that saying that his supporters will not be disrespected or treated unfairly in any shape or form is something that would get a normal person banned. Like, if it wasn't Trump.
Yes, because the president of the United States can pardon terrorists, and he's telling them that he will pardon terrorists.
And if it wasn't now, and if it wasn't in the context of January the 6th.
Yes, if only the thing that was really important to this situation did not exist, then this wouldn't exist. Yes, you're correct, Carl, but that thing does exist.
Then, was it the 6th or the 7th? God, I can't even remember. This is how bad my memory is these days. Things are happening too quickly.
Wow, Carl, things are happening too quickly for you. It would suck if you went into politics, wouldn't it?
This is, as this stream implies, a vulgar display of power. I don't think that he's not threatening violence. You can stand up for yourself without violence. You can argue your case without violence. And this is what Twitter is making sure that Trump can't do, is argue his case. And it's not just Twitter, of course. It is, of course, all of Silicon Valley. There is an article linked in the description if you'd like to read it, with lots and lots of absolutely excellent
Going some LotusWankers inception here.
sources and information in on lotuseaters.com, but we're not going to go through
Oh, there's sources? Oh, you and I, friends, we are going to inspect these sources, but later.
because I don't want to get too deep into.
You know what? We'll do it now. Fuck it. I don't care. I don't care. We'll do it now. Trump deplatformed by Silicon Valley. Okay. Let me swap this over. Hello, wizard. Hope you're having a good day. We are going to throw Lotus Eaters into the screen tab. Trump deplatformed. We're going to check these sources, shall we? These are the sources, apparently. All right. So this is the article. Now, it is depressing. I have a whole media reform video that I am slowly making progress on. It's depressing that news, and it's hard to tell that this is an amateur site, even though all they're doing is just pulling things off Twitter. So let's see. By sources, there are no sources. Not really. I mean, there's a couple things here. YouTube is disabling live chats. On some streams discussing protests at the Capitol. Some streams. Well, they aren't getting to us. Oh, the independent news outlet, Right Side Broadcasting Network. Oh boy. Oh boy. Right Side Broadcasting Network is a YouTube channel. Of course that's a source. Of course. Reclaim the net. Why did you do that? Okay, so I'm gonna change the screen sharing here. Just because you people have to see this, because yeah, I've got everything closed. It's fine. It's fine. I have no personal data here. I'm gonna show you guys Opera. Yes. The infinite. So, okay, I clicked on the events of the 6th earlier. It brought me here to this Reclaim the Net speech, which I have no idea what this website is. We'll find out. It links Tim Pool. And then Reclaim the Net reported links here. The same page. But they have 2 links for it. What? Why? What is the point? You only need to link it once, because once you've linked it once, you've already referenced it, and you can just refer back to it. It's not even at a different part of the page. It's still at the top of the page. What is this place? This is a website that literally exists because Donald Trump got banned off Twitter. So, like, this isn't like a news website. This is an angry blog that someone made because they didn't like that Donald Trump got banned. The first post is from yesterday, January 8th. It's probably run by this asshole, whoever he is. Hugo? Is that what his name is? Hugo Hithliday. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I don't like mispronouncing names unless it's for like a joke, like Carl Gon. YouTube announced via a tweet, which, again, you could just put the tweets in. Just because they're hyperlinks doesn't make them better than this, right? Like, these are sources by Carl's definition. All right, we're done. You see where this is going. You get it. We all get it. Let's go back to watching the video. And I have to de-share and reshare because I can't share the audio when I'm sharing a program window. I don't know why. StreamYard is weird. It's fine. It's fine. Whatever. All right. Back up. We're back up. Let's go for it.
To one particular part, I just want to talk about this bit. Because
don't talk about the whole article that's on your website that is making you money. Just talk about the little bit.
Because this is deep executive action. This article is a news article, so there's no opinion in it.
That is a lie. Oh, I can tell that's a lie. No opinion. Following the storming of the U.S. Capitol, storming in quotation marks, because the word storming is a subjective word. I don't even know what to do. Yeah.
Just facts that are being reported.
I had something, I lost it.
But yeah, so this is enormous.
Technically, he's true that all they're doing is just showing you tweets. They've just compiled a bunch of tweets. That's news now.
Now, in 2018...
To be fair, like, the New York Times does that too.
I think it was at the Supreme Court, or at least one court. I thought it might be the Supreme Court, but one of the courts ruled that Trump wasn't allowed to block people on Twitter because Twitter was being considered to be some kind of official public square, and that meant that people could reasonably be expected to go to Trump's Twitter account and be able to see what the president has said, because these are official proclamations from the person in charge. So Trump wasn't allowed to block anyone, and this was considered a great victory. In fact, I might have... Here we go. This will be useful. NPR. I mistakenly said that these have been fairly neutral on Trump earlier, and I'd forgotten. I thought I can't remember who I'd confused them with, but they're right. It was very anti-Trump. But this, they won on appeal.
He only says that because he forgot it was NPR. Like, this is apparently, maybe it's the most neutral thing. Like, NPR, if you are not American, is the most reliable news network we still have. It's better than basically everything. It's better than CNN. It's better than Fox. Everything's better than Fox, almost, except for Lotus Eaters. And NPR is basically the final word. If you want respectable journalism, right? If you want a real story with real experts and real analysis, you go to NPR. It's one of the last bastions of real journalism in the Western world, or at least the Anglo world. And, you know, Carl doesn't like that because they're so liberal. Facts. Facts.
If the First Amendment means anything, it means the best response to disfavored speech on public matters, on matters of public opinion.
Why are you even bothering going to the NPR site if all you're going to do is read the fucking tweets? Like, just go to Twitter.
Is more speech and not less. We beat Trump in court. How on earth can deplatforming the president be considered more speech and not less? Right? It can't. So this...
That's because the court case that Carl is referring to here is against the president. The president can't block anybody because he's the president, right? The president cannot deny a citizen access to himself, at least like within reason, right? Like, you shouldn't be able to run up and hug the president for no reason or under no security, but like, if the president is putting himself in the public forum, everyone has to be allowed to attend. He can't say, I'm only going to attend this place, but only if it serves white people, right? Like, he can't do that. The president is not allowed to conceal his actions from the public. That is part of the Freedom of Information Act as well. So, like, there are a lot of small reasons that went into that decision that said, again, Carl's already off the NPR site, so there's no actual explanation. He just read a tweet. But, like, the first thing was against the president. It wasn't a lawsuit against Twitter, right? Twitter operates the public forum. A public forum, however, can deny the president access. We saw that in, was it Pittsburgh or Philadelphia? It was some Pennsylvania city back in the summer during the George Floyd protests. There was a church, or I believe it was a church that like banned Trump. They said, "Don't come here. You aren't allowed to come here. Like, we aren't going to let you make a aren't going to let you make a mockery of this place." And they're allowed to do that because they're private citizens. They can tell the president to fuck off if they want to. He serves them. But, you know, Carl can't see the difference because, of course, just because it's on Twitter means that it's the same thing.
I mean, it may not even be legal for them to deplatform Trump, right? It might not even be legal. Who knows?
It's completely legal.
What will happen?
Just went over that.
Maybe Trump will start a lawsuit and see if this is something they can do.
Yeah, I'm sure the federal government is going to want to continue that lawsuit in 2 weeks. Because
if his account is actually a public space, and Twitter is a privately controlled public space, which exist. These are already existing legal entities. There may well be things they can and can't do.
Yes, if only you had looked up those laws, Carl.
And this might be one of them.
This might be one of them. It actually exists. There's case law that says that private spaces can deny access to public figures if they decide to. There's nothing you can do about that.
So I don't know what's going to happen.
The only reason that presidents basically go wherever you want is because you basically be a moron to not let the president come if the president asks, "Hey, can I give your commencement speech?" or whatever. The only difference here is that Donald Trump is a fucking terrorist.
And obviously I don't think anyone can tell you what's going to happen there. Maybe some people know more on that than I do. But the thing I'm worried about is the principle that underlies the thing, and that is the fact that a private company can decide that the public do not need to
see the fucking wheels turning in his head.
Know what the president have to say. In fact, they have made the executive decision to silence.
The president can literally walk downstairs from his office and hijack broadcast TV and just blab at the camera about whatever he thought of on the shitter this morning. He doesn't need Twitter. Twitter just is what Trump likes. Like, Barack Obama didn't use Twitter, not like he had a Twitter account, right? But he didn't use it in the way that Trump did. Like, the president can have any number of methods of communicating with the public. It's just that these individual platforms have said, hey, according to laws that Donald Trump proposed and passed and signed, we are liable if you do a terrorisms on our website, so we're banning you.
The president of the United States, the elected president, the leader of the free world, has been silenced by Silicon Valley, all of it. Like, he's gone. Even his Snapchat is gone. He's off Twitch. He is off. His merch stores were deplatformed. Everything. And a bunch of his supporters, right? Brandon Struck of the Walk Away campaign. Like, the idea that the Walk Away campaign is dangerous is pretty wild to me. I had considered this to be totally milquetoast, centrist, fence-sitting almost Republican.
Because those are linked to terrorist activities. Again, like, the only thing that's changed, well, two things changed. The first thing that changed was Tuesday. We all found out that it was the Democrats who would be chairing the investigative committees. The second thing that changed was Wednesday. Trump supporters did a literal terrorism. So all the algorithms that we currently have to fight ISIS, which is what they exist for, basically. We developed a bunch of anti-extremist algorithms to fight ISIS specifically, and we use them for other groups too. But they are basically a way to study patterns and speech and the way that accounts post. And we shut down those accounts because we can easily recognize that this is an ISIS account. This is trying to direct people to Syria to kill innocent people. The only reason we haven't used that on other extremist groups is because a lot of Republicans fall into that category, including Donald Trump.
Republicans, like the most just vanilla of conservatives, just nothing, just nothing.
I would love an example of a vanilla conservative. Do you think he gives one?
Offensive came out of the walk away movement that I ever saw, and obviously I followed it for years, because I was interested to see how it did. Because what it is people saying, look, the Democratic Party is crazy, and I don't want to be a part of that. And so a lot of them ended up voting for Trump because Trump really wasn't as bad as everyone is making out. But what is being done?
Of course not. All he did was get 5 people killed, and a cop is one of them.
Him right now is crazy. Like, Trump had put a video out saying to his supporters on the day of the storming of the Capitol, go home in peace and love, right? Go home. And he put out tweets saying, stop this, go home.
That's kind of irrelevant. 4 hours after he told them to go to the Capitol. And he also mentioned that it would be nice if someone put a gun to Mike Pence's head and forced him to reject the Electoral College.
Right. And this is amazing. His decision to use his platform to condone rather than condemn the actions of his supporters at the Capitol building has rightly disturbed people in the US and around the world. That's the opposite of what happened.
Did you not just read the tweet that was on your screen? No one will disrespect my beautiful followers, or
Trump
whatever the fuck.
condemned them. They got condemned. Trump said, no violence, we are the party of law and order. He condemned the violence. He told people to stop it.
Condemned it once, but then, the day after, he did not.
And go home. These are his words. These aren't someone else's words. And yet Mark Zuckerberg has just said the opposite. And that's it. Trump has gone from the...
I mean, Trump has said the opposite quite a few times.
I think it is the biggest social media platform ever, which was one of the first to ban him. But the most important one is actually Twitter. And Twitter is the most important one for a few reasons. But the most prominent one is that people can actually talk to each other properly on here. You have a response feed from people who, from verified checkmarks and normies if you're a verified account. But you've got a response feed so you can see what people have said to you in response to the things you said. It's difficult to do that on Facebook. It's difficult to do that on the other platforms, but Twitter is perfectly aligned for it. But the problem is, the difference with this is it makes it fucking...
I like how Carl looks at Twitter and Facebook as like forces of nature. Like, Twitter was created because Facebook stopped doing that. Like, these are things that these companies choose to do. This is completely irrelevant to the greater discussion about the Capitol and the terrorisms. But like, it just says so much about the way Carl's brain works, is that he thinks that like Facebook sprang up out of the ground fully formed, like it's fucking Athena or something. Like, Facebook chose to stop giving you notifications for everyone who replied to you. Twitter chose not to. Like, there are market forces at play that make that more profitable for Facebook and not for Twitter.
An unpleasant place to be, because when you've got great distance between you and your political opponent, you really don't care about their feelings. There's I'm sure many studies that show this, but it's very obvious that this is just the case. And so Twitter,
yeah, Carl is here asking us to respect his feelings,
is a horrible place where people abuse each other a lot. And
you would know, Carl, you did most of it. I wouldn't even ban you.
And yeah, so it's all quite awful to watch, but it's shocking that Silicon Valley would accept that they have the executive power to censor the president. And at this point, any other bonds that bound them to the duty to allow the public to hear what he's saying, for good or bad, those bonds have all been broken. So now they've got to the point where it's like, right, we can just delete who we want because
they've always had that power. That power always existed. It was always Twitter's sole discretion that Trump was allowed to stay on the platform. They just made money off of him.
Are the ones who control the platform, and we have no other obligations. This is an obligation. This is above the other obligations.
They're a company. They have no obligation to profit. Isn't that what you like to say, Carl?
We have to other people. And so the other,
It's amazing how social responsibility is suddenly a thing corporations should be bothering with when it isn't about video game tits.
The Linwoods, the General Flynns, the Walkaway campaign, and literally, guys, it's going to be all of us. Right? It's like everyone who is not
fucking cock tease
on board with what's happening is going to get suspended, right? So It's going to be NormieTube for a long time. Follow people on Rumble, follow people on Parler, and follow people wherever if these things are back. I hope, is Parler back? Parler was down, right? Because shortly after Trump got suspended, Parler crashed. I imagine, right, it's back then.
Turns out terrorisms are bad for platforms.
I imagine this was because millions of people were then going, right, okay, Parler.com. How do I sign up? And this is, Trump is apparently, where are we? This Sean Hannity thing. Is it this one? Yeah. So apparently Sean Hannity has said that Trump has joined Parler at the official POTUS, which is a very interesting Parler name, not at real Donald Trump, which is very, very interesting.
Like, I don't know if this is true. I'm just going to be clear about that. Like, Carl's source is Parler about Parler. So, okay. I don't know. Because, like, the article he's hovering over says, for months, supporters called on President Trump to join Parler. Once again, I'm urging real Donald Trump to join Parler. Maybe that's like a tweet again, but like doesn't seem to confirm it. If that really is Donald Trump, he's going to have one hell of a lawsuit on his hands when the White House goes after him for calling himself the official POTUS.
Take notes. But the point is, when it comes to dealing,
I wonder if the ghost of Chavez knows about this.
with things, the problem with Twitter,
Please let the ghost of Chavez know that the official POTUS exists.
is that Twitter has created a kind of giant political club.
It's okay, I'll let the ghost of Chavez know.
And it used to be in 2016, 2015, that almost anyone could get into this club if you were part of an institution. Everyone started getting verified, except for the YouTubers. But then you had Milo being de-verified, and then you had a bunch of people being banned. But
there are a lot of verified YouTubers.
They're all conservatives, but they were all quite firebrands, so it didn't matter. And now it's absolutely everyone who could be in the crosshairs, including and up to president. So, I mean, just if these are the official places of public dialogue, these are the official public squares, and the president can...
They are not official public squares. They are de facto public squares. Like, words have a meaning.
Be ejected from them.
I'm sorry, this is why I hate Carl.
That is just wild. That is wild. But so what's going to happen now is you're going to get kind of like the French Revolution, where you had lots of different political clubs springing up.
It's like the Bastille, but everyone said, please keep the king.
Different political interests. They would hire a building and they would have weekly or nightly meetings. And this is what's going to happen on social media now. And things are going to radicalize because these clubs are all going to be like, wow, we're beset by enemies on all sides, because they appear to be beset by enemies on all sides. And
I mean, well, they've been in the mainstream. They've been saying they're beset by enemies on all sides. I know. I've listened to Rush Limbaugh for 25 years.
This will not be good. I mean, like,
I know, I'm only 35. Shut up.
This is just such an unfair action that they're taking against Trump, because he's Trump and because they can, that I don't think he's just going to lie down on this. And I don't think that's like, I mean, I don't want to predict, or I don't want to be accused of inciting anything either, because I'm not inciting anything. I'm just trying to tell you what I think is going to happen and what I think has happened, because I think like just a clear-headed, neutral analysis is very, very useful.
Well, we better go find one, because we ain't going to find it on Carl's channel
at the moment. And I don't know. I mean, like, I don't think you're going to get it from Joe Biden. Like, look at this, man. Joe Biden likens Ted Cruz to Nazi propagandist Goebbels for helping Trump spread big lie about election fraud.
Yeah, that's kind of true, because he killed cops.
That's mad. That's mad. Biden, not even in office yet, and he's already calling Trump and his administration Nazis. Trump can't even speak back on the allegation.
Something quacks like a duck.
Because they've torn out his tongue. Unreal.
They've torn out his tongue. How violent is this Twitter suspension?
This is genocidal rhetoric. This is terrible.
I'm sorry, do we want to talk about genocidal rhetoric, Carl? Do I have to bring up the tapes again, Carl?
Awful what the Democrats are doing right now. And the thing is, with so much power, you would think that they would have...
I might bring up the tapes again.
Some kind of grace. But instead, they've gone into full-on vicious, absolutely crush our opponents mode. And that's quite terrifying. And it shows that it is the left that has been the problem. It is the way that they operate in politics. They are not tolerant.
I mean, I agree with Carl in this point. The left has been the problem. The fact that the left has not taken action that would sufficiently neutralize Nazis.
And the problem with not being tolerant is it means you can't run a democracy. A democracy is predicated on a bond of trust between both sides that you will give the other side a fair hearing.
Have you not been paying attention to United States politics, Carl?
And if we are not giving the other side a fair hearing, then democracy cannot last.
Democracy cannot last when people invade the Capitol building, try to tie up the vice president so they can force him to undo an election. This is democracy to Carl.
It is not what I wish.
I would say my mind is blown, but I have no standards for this guy.
For the case to be, it just is what the case is. And so we have real problems, right? We have real problems. They're being totally exacerbated by the left. They're doing this on purpose. Like this is a media collage that was going around. It's nice to be able to get back on my Parler now. So when Twitter was out, I was like, right, I'm going to tell everyone on Parler, and it's like Parler's down. Shit, And in fact, it still seems to be like, again, undoubtedly, millions of people are currently joining this platform. But
I like how Carl is like talking up the amazedness. Amazedness? Is that a word? The amazing power of Parler, even though, look at his account. He uses this less than his dummy fucking whatever his new Greenwood Outlaw account is.
Yeah. So, like this
like he's only made 2.5k tweets or parlays. Like he makes 2.5k tweets on actual Twitter a month.
This is a significant step because the perception of social media is that social media...
Do you know why? Because people are actually there and they'll listen to his bullshit because not even his fans want to join Parler.
It's very important, which is why these companies are acting in the high-handed, thuggish way that they are.
They're acting because, according to the law, they are responsible for what people do. And when terrorists organize on your platform, you are going to be charged like a terrorist organizer.
Just autocratic way. These are the kingmakers now, right?
This is literally the opposite of autocracy because no one in the government is doing this.
You understand? These are the people who make the decisions. And I mean this, right? Look at this. Apple threatens to boot Parler from the App Store if it doesn't impose Apple's content moderation plan. Or,
that makes sense, Carl. If you want to get your hand in Apple's money, you need to abide by their terms of service.
Something that satisfies Apple. So it's effectively like the EU lecturing to a country that how they're going to have to run their country before they can join the EU. And I mean,
almost exactly like it. And in fact, I can't wait until Parler Brexits from Apple.
There are benefits.
Let's see how that goes for them.
Being on the Apple's App Store. But I think if Donald Trump joins your platform, then you don't actually need the Apple App Store to make sure that people are aware of you as a site. I think that at this point, Parler is more than big enough to allow itself to be pushed around like this.
Again, if it was that big, Carl would actually be using it.
Especially if the president has just joined it, which we have been told that he has. Not that I can do anything about that at the moment, but I'm sure they're expanding server capacity as we speak, which is what I mean. Like, you don't need, if people can just...
I mean, look at that. He's been on it for 2 years, and he's only got 2.5k tweets. I've only been on Twitter. Well, I mean, I've been on Twitter since, 2009. But for 8 years, all I did was use it to fucking sign up for game giveaways.
Just go to parler.com and download the app then. Fuck them. You don't need to accept their demands. And again, it's like coercion, right? This is what it is. It's a form of coercion. Suddenly, because of politics, and because of what Twitter have done to Trump, we're going to go to Parler like a cartel, right? This is the Silicon Valley cartel at work. We are going to bully you and intimidate you until you do what we say.
Okay, so the point of a drug cartel, or any kind of cartel, I guess, is not to drive business to other businesses.
Because these are our rules. And
in fact, Carl is saying that the cartels have decided the Nazis will have their own cartel. Let's put all the Nazis there.
You're going to abide by them. And it's terrible. It's tyrannical. Absolutely tyrannical. There's no reason that Parler should be threatened like this. Trump could just go to any other alternate platform. And again,
they're not being threatened. They're being told to comply with terms of service. I figured Carl would understand that.
Have to do the same thing. But it shows that Apple views itself essentially like a fascist company. It is an ethical company. It's an ethical agenda and is going to prosecute an aggressive move, as if it's in a war with Parler and in war effectively with Trump and trying to deprive him of territory, right? Internet territory. And this is terrifying. I mean, this is just what are you doing? They want complete control of information and complete control of discourse and speech. And that can't be allowed. They can't be allowed to bully
Is that me or is that him?
the president of the
I think it was him.
United States off the internet. That is insane. That is just such an insane.
They didn't bully him off, they banned him off. Bullying is social pressure that becomes too emotionally draining for people to endure, so they leave of their own accord. Trump got kicked out. Trump got thrown out by the bouncer.
Insane thing to do. And so right, okay, like, don't think this won't have consequences.
That's actually a good metaphor, because Trump did, in fact, touch the merchandise.
So again, not me saying I'm not doing anything. I'm sitting at home, like chilling out. And I don't want any of you to do anything, right? I just want us to look at this dispassionately and think, right, does it end here? Does it end here? Or does this further incite? And I'm worried that this further incites, and I really wish I could get...
Have we tried appeasing the Nazis? Has anyone thought of that before? Is there precedent for that?
My parlor up.
Please tell me in chat if you know.
So I can show you things that I have posted, like the collage of the media just constantly defending violence. They've been doing it for years. The media is in favor of political violence and has been for a long time, if it's coming from the left wing. The second it comes from the right wing, that's it. It's the end of the world, and the right wing movement has to go. And it's like, look, that can't be.
Did Carl just imply that what happened on Wednesday was actually violence? And the fact that 5 people died, Carl, is that a thing you're admitting to now?
Acceptable. It can't be acceptable for one side to have the
Let's see if he doesn't contradict that.
privilege of doing violence to the other without any dire consequences. Violence is not good, and like I've said from day one, political violence is the end of a liberal democracy. I want a liberal democracy, so I don't want political violence. And if you want a liberal democracy, you shouldn't want political violence. So why were we letting the media get away with this fucking political violence?
Oh, fuck! Political violence! No! Oh, no! Oh, no! No, 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 no! Oh, God! Twitter banning Donald Trump is political violence. Send help! Oh, God. Do we even get into how many things are wrong with this statement? And hello, Christy. Hi. Oh, no. Oh, fuck.
Encouraging the political violence. And I've been calling this out for years. We've all been calling this out for years. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but I feel like I have to reiterate it. You know, you can't just do this and think that the Republic is going to carry on as normal, right?
Okay, so... Sorry. Can't get over it. I'm okay. I swear. So, getting back onto what Carl is actually talking about here. The Republic hasn't been functioning for about 10 years now. Like, that's just the truth of it. Like, Mitch McConnell has kept a vice grip on power. And the US government really hasn't done anything, not of a significant degree. And the few things that it managed to do were terrible. Like camps and, you know, taking away all of the rights that trans people have gained, I should say, over the past, 15 years. Like, there's nothing functional about the American democracy right now. Like, I'm sorry. Like, we barely scraped by this time.
Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. That is that's a law of nature.
Wow, it's almost like when you attack the Capitol building, people start saying, I don't want to have a terrorisms on my social media platform.
Like, oh my God, this is fucking mad. This is mental. Anyway, I will actually read the suture tonight because I don't have to get up early tomorrow. But yeah, no, chat, don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything stupid. I mean it. I don't want to be responsible for something.
Good job. Carl's learned enough by now that he'll get banned if he doesn't say that right now.
I guess that'll sort out. Man, just what a day. What a week. What a week this has been. It's absolutely insane, isn't it? Like, fake pie, the Tree of Liberty thirst. Yeah, well, these are the opinions of the grassroots.
Oh, the Tree of Liberty needs water. We needs blood. We're willing to pay in our own blood, except don't take our Twitter away. God damn it.
This is what happens when you do these things. Yeah, I did hear that Apple was trying to censor Parler, threatening to censor Parler Ace. Ref Sean Head is a bad person. She is not a patriot. She's a full-blown lying commie. SJW, every time she's called out, she lies and deflects or blocks people. There's not a matter of opinion. She is clearly a horrible person. You should not be nice to her. Love you.
What the fuck does Shoe on Head have to do with this? Look, I'm not a big fan of Shoe, okay? Everyone knows this. But like, what does she have to fucking do with this?
I think you should be nice to everyone, actually. I think I've come to the conclusion now. I mean, I've said multiple times to my son.
If anything, this is proof. Remember how Carl used to treat Shu? And now that Twitter has told him, and YouTube has told him, and Apple has told him that the gloves are fucking off, Carl's like, well, I think we should be nice to everybody now. You know, we shouldn't do anything mean. Don't want to start any trouble. There might be an impending civil war, but I don't want anyone to fight. Like, that's proof of concept right there. Carl knows the gloves are off, so he's watching his language. He's moderating his behavior. That is the point.
When he's called something stupid, don't just call things stupid. The irony is not lost on me. But I realize I have grown as a person. And one thing, I'm doing a book club on Marcus Aurelius' Meditations, and I read it years ago, but not like to any particular detail. I didn't study it properly. And
Did you read the headlines? The Meditations.
And in studying it properly, I think that he's got a few things about the human condition quite right. And one of those things is like the damage to your own soul that is accumulated by negative actions that you take. And I think that being nice to people
did Carl have a Christmas Carol experience this holiday season?
Is a positive action that increases the amount of good in the world. Not being nice to people is a negative action that increases the amount of bad in the world. And I think at this point, I would rather be someone who increases the amount of good, because my God, the number of people increasing the amount of bad and the power that they wield is overwhelming. I mean, I'm pretty much at the point where I just think the villains have won. And I wonder how many times in history this has happened. I
mean, they're the villains because they wouldn't even rape you.
Super Chat's gone. Oh, yeah, well, I'm not Super Chats on this channel. But yeah, so no, I don't think she's a bad person. I think that she is a scared person and a confused person and doesn't really know what she's doing.
Oh yeah, that super chat that Carl got. 4chan got fucking nuked.
Hanging out with people. I mean, Vorsh was
as a veteran of 4chan, I'm not sad.
Actively calling for the eradication of the mag. We can't live with these people. Either they disappear or we do. It's like, well, there we go. You're calling for the death of your political opponents, or the disappearance of them, as if there's any particular. What an evil thing! What an evil thing for a person to sit there and do. This is what the Nazis were. Many of them were desk murderers. Look up the term on Wikipedia, desk murderers. The people just...
We're going to get it. We're going to get it. Am I going to win my money? Did anyone take me up on my bet that Night of the Long Knives is coming?
Signed the deaths away of millions of people. And they didn't think about it because they were just boring, normal, bureaucratic people who were just signing bits of paper because there weren't piles of bodies in front of them. But then, a few hundred miles away, millions of people were being killed. And this is the kind of person that Vosh is. I mean, I saw like the Arthur Chu thing. Vosh? Okay, what? Where he's just like, Trump supporters aren't human, essentially, is what he's saying, right? So this is dehumanizing Nazi rhetoric. And this is people getting put into camps and shot. This is
dehumanizing Nazi rhetoric. Gee, Carl, I wonder who could have said something dehumanizing. I don't know.
Evil. It's an evil thing, and Shu is hanging around with these people, and it's like, okay, well then that's your choice. But I think that's pretty disgusting, and I don't really see what's so necessary about the identity of lefty that means that you are compelled to hang out with people like this. And I mean, I'm not saying come and hang out with me, right? Because I can't hang out with anyone. I haven't got any time. Like, I'm constantly working. Like, this is why.
Yeah, no one wants to hang out with you, Carl. That's what happens.
I stream at midnight. Right, because on Friday night we've got like a multiplayer game of Mount and Blade booked.
Look, that's not fair. Kevin streams at midnight, and he's always got friends.
A bunch of friends of mine, and it's one time a week we can all get together and actually have a game. So after a long week of work, and it is long. I'm constantly, and I know I'm always going on about how much I'm working, but I'm just, it's something that's present in.
He's such a put-on artisan. He gets like 2 hours a week to relax. The rest of his time.
My thoughts, that it's necessary to make sure that we are as well prepared as we can be, right? And so this is why I'm stringing off the midnight. But yeah, it feels like 1933. Yeah, it does, and it feels like she's hanging out with fascists, and it's one of those things that I just think is sad to see.
It's 1933. Trump got banned from Twitter, and the walk away movement got banned from Facebook. It's 1933. Everybody, might as well pack it in.
it's like, okay, well, it's up to you. I mean, I watched her doing a stream reply to someone who had a puppet.
Wait, does that mean that Carl now recognizes that the path to Nazism was a progression and it didn't just spontaneously emerge in 1939?
And the person was like, they brought up the question of rights, natural rights or constructed rights, something like that. And she was just like, what? And it's like, she didn't understand any of the things that she was hearing. And I was like, right, okay, that's just sad. Why even be involved in politics if you literally don't understand the basics?
Christy, do you want me to clip that out? Why be in politics if you don't understand the basics?
Or try to, just. But I mean, you notice that she never talks about, anything crazy these days. It's all doomering. Anyway, be nice to people. Don't be mean to people. I think it's a lot better to do that.
Again, his behavior is being moderated now, so he knows not to fuck with anyone.
Winston Smith, I love Big Brother, and we were always at war with East Asia. Yeah, I mean, YouTube's editorial policies dictate that I can only say certain things. I don't think I've said anything that would violate them here. I think I've been completely neutral.
Well, you said nothing that's insightful, I guess. I mean, I wasn't paying very close attention, but, you have said a lot of dumb shit.
And I'm not trying to advocate for any one position over another. I just think these are things that are true statements. I think these are things that will happen.
I love how his entire super chats is like, I've read The Prince by Machiavelli, and Carl's like, I'm reading The Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It's like, have you guys done any political philosophy in the past 500 years, maybe?
Frostheart says, do they honestly think this will help? This will only make people angrier. Yeah, I think it's going to make people feel more victimized and make them feel more resentful because they are not being treated with any respect, as Trump pointed out. They're not being given any...
Please appease the fascists. I think we should do a study on if we should appease the fascists.
Kind of due consideration. In fact,
I don't think anyone's tried it before.
Being treated like pests that
Let's find out.
Need to be exterminated, which really isn't a good look, in my opinion.
I don't think that Twitter said that Donald Trump needs to be exterminated like pests.
Apple is threatening to axe Parler. Yep, I've covered it. Sorry, I've done them. But guys, Jack Dorsey only has good intentions. He's truly a fighter for free speech. Joe Rogan told me so, says Spooner. Yeah, it's pretty wild, isn't it? I guess power really does go to one's head, doesn't it, Jack? Just goes right up to your head. And
it's power. I mean, it's, to be fair, the CEO of Twitter does have a lot of unnecessary power in the fact that he allowed the president to use his platform as a place to almost start nuclear war for 4 years. But, this is literally the opposite of authoritarianism. No one in the government did anything. In fact, the government is on the losing side in this case.
I actually could save the world. I, Jack Dorsey, am going to be the magic monk that saves the world from Donald Trump. Ain't gonna happen, Jack. You live in a dream world.
No, if he wanted that, he would have banned him a long time ago. He just banned him now because he realized that the Democrats are going to run all the investigative committees.
Again, your perception of things, it's getting out of control. Terminology guy. Glad lately you talk about terminology, but please define yourself, especially trivial values, before opponents negatively define them for you. Even knowingly using their language is like saying their slogans. So detrimental, not define your own worldview. Yeah, this is pretty much what I'm saying, isn't it? When I'm saying, look, I think we should start. You don't have to necessarily be nice, but what I would think a better way of putting it is just not be nice. Don't be not nice. Be constructive. Build. Make yourself stronger. And all of these are Jordan Petersonisms, really. Say things that make you.
Jordan Peterson. Carl is always 2 years behind the fucking ball.
You're strong, and that's positive things that are, virtues. Appeal to your own. Think about virtues. Think about what is good, the good rather than the bad or the excessive and deficient. There is real psychological.
I can pause for that comment. Abu Fafana. I hope I said your name right. Dataport, I know you identify as a conservative, but how do you consider yourself on the right? Not really. I mean, I consider myself anti-fascist right now. That's been my political spectrum for a while. I feel like that's more important than right or left right now. That's always been my thing ever since the fucking Orange Monkey got nominated. Even before then, but especially since then. I still identified as a light yield Republican in 2016. I didn't vote in 2012. I think that was the only presidential election I missed because I had only been in Delaware for like a few weeks, right? So like I was in Delaware. There was no chance that Delaware was going to be a toss-up in the national race. So I don't know enough about my community right now to vote in a local race. That was the only election I missed. But I still lightly identified as Republican at that point. Obviously wasn't very passionate because I didn't just go to down ticket everything. But yeah, I was like, party doesn't matter. Right, left doesn't really matter. It's anti-fascist and fascist now, and Carl is a fascist. Thank you for the question. Good question. Anyone know any YouTuber on the right that actually knows what he's talking about, is generally intellectually honest? I don't know specifically anybody right now. I don't know. If you count me, then I'm flattered. But that's about it. Like, no. Who? Might have been some. I don't know anyone who is still a YouTuber, I should say. There are a couple people I could think of, but they haven't done videos in years because they started realizing that they were drawing Nazis on their channel and they stopped doing videos.
Logical use in this, right? It makes you feel better about yourself. It makes you feel that day by day you're doing the right things. And then when you go too far, you're like, okay, I'm gonna have to, chastise myself when I yell too loudly at my son when he's not listening, or when I don't tell him off enough or something like that, but I'm trying to get to a golden mean, but I'm really taking this Aristotle stuff seriously. And I keep saying it, but like it really.
All right, we're a little bit in a self-wank here, so I think we're gonna pause this. We got through the meat of what Carl was doing. We're gonna swap over. We're gonna swap over to Lotus Eaters, the actual website now. And I wanted to. We're gonna do another live react on. Damn. Go to the home. Is it on the home? The Capitol storming was not a surprise. I saw this, and I have to know. Don't you think? Never mind. Fuck. BitChute took it down. BitChute, which if you don't know, is Nazi YouTube. Even BitChute took this video down. I don't know. That's something, all right. Like BitChute is where all the Nazis put all their videos. Like Steve Bannon shit is already on BitChute when he got kicked off for the Giuliani interview. We could do the audio here. Maybe. I mean, it's probably fine. I don't know if we'll we'll see. Let's just test it in the spacebar. I'm sorry, wait, 4 years? Political violence in the streets has been a part of American politics since before there was an America. You know that, right? Like, I know you Brits don't know a lot about the revolution. Like I have a girlfriend who's British, and like she told me how her schooling went on the American Revolution, and let me tell you, it is a trip. But like, Boston Harbor, ring any bells? No. Boston incident. What do they call it? They call it something. She told me once. Boston. It's like they call it like the Boston toss-up or something really, really inane. Because I mean, okay, the Boston Massacre is an overstatement. I'll agree with that, but that's how we remember it, right? Like, bye, Christy. Thanks for coming. But like, you know, violence in American politics is kind of a thing. Like Stonewall, the civil rights movement, like this, the Civil War. Yeah, like Nazis, like Charlottesville. Those people were actually allowed to be there. Like, you know, they were just normal guests who happened to all agree that Kavanaugh was an asshole. Also, like 118 of the Kavanaugh protesters were arrested, as opposed to 15. Well, 15 on the day. The arrest number has gone up in the past few days as they've caught all the people who stole national security secrets. This is violence. Like, he's trying to cite an example of the left doing something that happened on Wednesday, but he can't find one. All he could find is this speech. It sounds more like she's in like a high school room and talking to a bunch of kids. Remember, this very calm and steady delivered talk with no one shouting in the background, people patiently listening. Maybe it's a YouTube video from her office. I don't know. Again, if we had the video, get on your shit, BitChute. But like, this is violence. Like, this is 25% of his whole video. Look, it's only 4:25 long, and we're already 2 minutes in. A minute has been this. Wow, it turns out like people doing like a protest and the police start opening fire on them, they respond in kind. Which is also, by the way, a scientific study that the police are the primary benchmark of how force is used in a protest. Not to say things like Wednesday don't happen, although on Wednesday, the police did tear gas the crowd before they rushed the building. So again, the police set the tone. The police probably tear gassed the crowd because they were undermanned, though, in the case of Wednesday. In Portland, they just wanted to. Which is true. and it's not as bad. Name all of the cops who got killed by Antifa. Like, there have been scuffles, but how many police officers have died from an Antifa riot, quote unquote? Is the number zero? Is the number lower than the number of people who were killed by people whom the president said, we're going to go to the Capitol building and we're going to save our democracy? And then, within 2 hours, they stormed the Capitol building and people were dead. Is that the higher number or the lower number? I'll let who did this? Callum. We'll let Callum answer that for us. I don't think he will. He's only got like a minute left. As she tried to get into the congressional chamber. This is the most hallowed civic space in the United States. If I could work my will, I can't say it on YouTube. I'll just say that. But if armed vigilantes rush into the Capitol, I don't think there should be any limits to the response from the Capitol Police. That's all I'm saying. Like, they fired first. Democrats have never stormed a building in a coordinated attack, which we haven't really mentioned today. But remember, Wednesday was coordinated because they charged into several state houses. I believe Kansas and Georgia. Is it Georgia or was it somewhere else? No, I think Georgia. Georgia just had a protest in the state house. But there was another one. Was it Missouri? Fuck. I know Kansas. But no, this was coordinated. They all attacked on the same day and all tried to bum rush their states. The injustice and inequity is that we had less votes than the winning side. I know that the quote that they're using is someone defending the George Floyd protests, but you know what he's implying. Results-based violence. For example, if you've been watching my channel for a long time, we covered the Hong Kong shit. We did that with Kevin, actually. And people storming the government in order to preserve the independence of their court system is a morally good action. People storming their government to overturn an election that they did not agree with is a morally bad action. It's the same tactic, but they are different ethically and morally because their goals are different ethically and morally. So, okay, that's all we got today. Yeah, unless anyone has anything else in chat, or we could just watch more of the Sargon video. I don't know. But that's all for this little short clip. This is the thing that Lotus Eaters wanted us to look at when I signed in today. So, signed in. I opened the webpage. No one's gonna fucking sign up for that crap. Like I said, I don't even pay Disney £5 a month to watch The Mandalorian. I am not going to give Carl that much money to get one article a week. No, thank you. Yeah, I think we're done for the day. I just wanted to get something out. Like I said, when I do these, I always say I'm gonna do like a quick reaction video, but then I never do because I guess I feel like I burned out all my rage. Because I hate Carl because he is sacrilegious to my faith, and like not the fact that he's like taking it in vain or anything, but the fact that he's doing it so badly. So hey, maybe we'll do this more. This was kind of fun. We'll just do blind Carl videos from. I don't know if he keeps doing them, he might get thrown off YouTube at this point. Maybe he's right. Maybe he covered his ass fast enough though. We'll see. So, thanks for visiting, guys. Thank you, Abu. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Wizard. Thanks everybody for coming in. And see you guys next time, I guess.